up here, I've been sick. It's been one thing or another, but so please excuse me. I think I'm on the last term of this sickness, so hopefully this is it. But thank you for your prayers. Thank you for everybody asking. Thank you for avoiding me so that I don't have to spread my sickness. Hopefully nobody else got sick. But you know, as we've been here and gathering together, first of all, I want to share how excited I am to be able to worship with you every week. I love being able to hear the things that God's doing. What an awesome testimony of this mission trip that Walter Maple was sharing with us, through the pictures and the things that the Lord is doing all the way over in Thailand. What an incredible opportunity. And for those hands that knit the scarves, can you imagine? Like, these are kids halfway across the world that are blessed through scarves. I mean, this is love in action. And what an incredible testimony. I was just so encouraged. And, you know, usually I have a high energy, but because of my sickness, I'm like all the way down. But it's kind of good because it mellows me out, right? Sometimes we need to be mellowed out. And it's got me like really deep, you know, it's got me thinking. And, you know, like I said, it's been a long week of battling this illness. I have like fever and chills at the same time. It's like weird, you're sweating but you're cold. It's a weird flu this time. And you know, I have body aches that just weren't going away. You know, and Monica, she swears, my wife, she's like, you know, you're just hooked on drugs. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't feel good, you know. I'm like on the nasal decongestant, going back and forth between acetamin and ibuprofen. You know, I got tea, I got a cough drop in my mouth right now. It's crazy, it's crazy. I'm like a pharmacy. But this week, finally, near the end of this week, I was able to take a breath and breathe without like nasty stuff coming out, without body aches, without shivering, and I was like, wow. I mean, it's not much, it sounds horrible right now, trust me, but I feel really good. You know, I feel really good. And here's the thing, that small amount of breath that I took, the small amount of healing that came, as I would lie there, and I was thinking, like I told you, I really mellowed out. As I'd lie there in bed, you know, kind of whimpering on my own, I have a baby, I admit it, you know, kind of whimpering, and, you know, I was like thinking about it, and I was like, wow, I feel so defeated by this flu. You know, I feel so, like just so weak. And I started looking at myself and go, what's going on? What is this? I'm stronger than this, you know? But I was reminded how often we allow life, we allow the world, we allow circumstances to break us down. How often we allow the circumstances or the situations that we find ourselves to break us down and incapacitate us from growing, from doing anything. How often we allow the situation that we find ourselves to affect how we live. You know, I don't know, I think I shared this with the men's group. But one of the things that I really find a way to connect with the Lord is through working out. I don't know if you all remember the movie Chariots of Fire. That's like one of my, I love that movie. You know, he played rugby, I played rugby, you know, and I love that line. I'm sure everybody knows that line when you just watch that movie. It says, when I run, I feel his pleasure. And I'm like, yeah, when I exercise, when I go PT or do something like that, I love it. It's invigorating to me. Maybe it's the endorphins or what, but I just feel like, you know, I listen to worship music and it's like my zone. It's my time with the Lord. And because of this sickness, I haven't been able to do that. You know, I can barely get out of bed and eat, barely, you know, work out. So it's like, I'm like, wow. How often do we allow our physical circumstance, the situation that we find ourselves, to affect how we live, to affect our growth in the Lord? And whatever that might be, whatever situation you find yourself, whether it's stress, whether it's the busyness of life, whether it's a relationship that's breaking down, what is that for you? What is that thing in your life that when it comes up, you just can't focus on your walk with Christ? And what you're going to begin to realize is as you identify that, it doesn't just affect your faith, it doesn't just affect how you are with the Lord. Because sometimes we think that we're like, oh, well, yeah, obviously when I'm sick, when I'm busy, I can't really spend time with the Lord because my mind is distracted. But here's the thing, it's not just about our walk with the Lord. We realize that when our walk with the Lord isn't right, it begins to filter into other areas. It begins to affect how I live my life, how I interact with others, how I live in the world. And instead of living victoriously, I find myself defeated. Right? I find myself caught up with the current of the world, and I can't fight myself out. My hope in this season, we've been looking over at the way ahead, and looking at what does it mean to rebuild, restore, to be revived today. And my hope is that we would begin to examine ourselves. We would begin to examine our lives, our communities, our church, and find the things that suffocate and stifle us. Find the things that prevent us from growing in the Lord, whatever it might be. Whatever, because there's that thing that comes up sometimes, whether it's an argument or a temptation or a life or a season. What is it that comes in your life, that comes in our church, that comes in our community, and stifles our walk with the Lord? And as we examine these things, my hope is not just to say, okay, well, there it is, but rather to know that in that, with those things, Christ died for that. There is victory. We don't realize this because we get so defeated by a situation or a circumstance, especially if it's reoccurring. We fall to it and we say, oh, that's the situation I find myself. But we don't realize there is victory. There is freedom. Christ's death and resurrection is exactly for those things that will hold us back from a life of freedom. See, so it's not just that I need to find freedom. That freedom is in Jesus Christ. And when I accept Him, when I have Him, I have victory over those things. See, Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, Paul reminds us, he says, it is for freedom. It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. And I think even as believers and followers of Christ, we fall into this slavery, this yoke of slavery, whatever circumstance we find ourselves in. And my hope is that as we look at the way ahead, as we examine ourselves, we will be able to surrender those things so that we would know the victory that is in Jesus Christ. Because that's truly what I believe. The reason I went into ministry, the reason I believe Jesus is who He is, because I believe in Him there is wholeness. I believe in Jesus Christ there is healing. I believe in Jesus Christ there is freedom. And I believe we are called to be free. And I think too often we have somehow allowed our legalistic minds to make Christianity a set of rules and things that bind us and restrict us. And I don't know how many conversations I've had where they're like, well, I know you're a Christian, but it's okay this one time. I'm like, no, see that? You think I'm living a restricted life. That's not true. I choose not to do the things I don't do because those are the things that bind me. I live free in what I do. Going to church on Sunday, having fellowship with my brothers and sisters, having a relationship with the Lord is free. It's free. I desire it. I love it. I get excited about it. This week, people, if you haven't met, especially if you haven't prepared yourself, it's Valentine's Day this weekend, right? This upcoming week. And, I thought about, I talked about marriage and relationship, but, that's one of the things. I mean, it wouldn't be a very healthy relationship if somebody said, oh, I have to spend time with my spouse. Oh, man. I love it. I love being married. I love having children. I love the relationship that I have. It's not easy. I didn't say it was easy, okay? There are stressful moments. There are times when it's challenging and it's overwhelming. But I would trade it. I love it. know, it enhances me. I grow in it. And that's the same thing. In Jesus Christ, I am free. So in seeking Him and finding out what He's calling us to, my hope and prayer is that it would lead to greater freedom as we look at the way ahead. So to do this, today we're going to look at what it means to be revived. So we're going to take a look at Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30. Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30 as we do. And I'll be reading from the NIV. Matthew chapter 25, again, verses 14 to 30. Common parable, I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's a great way for us to look at, again, what it means to be revived in the Lord and what He's given us as we look at the way ahead. So it says this. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who received 5 bags of gold went at once and put his money to work and gave 5 bags more. So also the one with 2 bags of gold gave 2 more. But the man who had received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. If you've been faithful with a few things, I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 bags of gold also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 bags of gold. See, I've gained 2 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I'll put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. And the man who had received 1 bag of gold came. Master, he said, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your gold in the ground. See, here's what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Well, then you should put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I return, I would have received it back with interest. So take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one who has 10 bags. For whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time to be able to just come and enter into your word, but also to enter into kind of fellowship with you and with your body. And Lord, today as we look at what it means to be revived, God, I ask for that to happen even now. Bring to the surface the areas that need to have your breath. Breathe, God. And the areas where we need to know your victory and freedom. God, would you allow that to happen now? Open our hearts, open our minds to you. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Now this passage comes in the midst of Jesus as he's talking about his second coming to his disciples. And right before he begins his journey to the cross. And as he's about to, so right before that, this parable is the one that he talks about. You know, and as a young boy for me, growing up, listening and reading this parable, I wrestled with it a lot. Because for me, I identify with the third servant. And I'm like you, as I read, the 5, the 2, and the third, and the servant that had 1, I said, I don't like that one. What's wrong with that? And the reason is because I'm a saver. Okay? I don't know if you'll find out about this. You can ask Monica about it. She hates this, but I'm a saver. I like to save things. So she uses the word hoarder. That's not what I use. I use the word saver. It sounds a little nicer. But I like to save things. She says, why don't you get rid of it? Or if I get a shirt that I really like and a tag, she's like, why does a tag still on it? I go, just haven't gotten around to it. I like it. And the thing is, here's my reasoning for saving it. So if somebody gives me a gift that I really like, it's really hard for me to use it right away. I like to put it away, keep it nice and folded, put it in the shelf, and then maybe years down the road, pull it out and say, look, now I just extended the value of this shirt, She doesn't get it. I don't know, maybe it's me. But I was like, no. She's like, well, you're supposed to use it right away. I was like, no, now I've extended the life of this shirt. You're not even wearing it. It's awesome. I'm slowly learning to change that. And I do that with food too. If you ever go out, especially a buffet, I used to be a big proponent of buffets. They used to be in business because of people like me. But I used to go all the time. And so I would do my first round, get all the food, like everything that looks good, and then I would always save my best food for last. I don't know what it is, but I'll save that. The problem with that sometimes, Monica, I really want that. I'm like, well, that's what I'm saying. Because you're worth it here. But, I like to save. I just like to keep things to the end. But the thing is, what I'm learning is then you're not utilizing it for what it was meant for. It was given to be used. It was given to be worn. You don't just hold it and put it in a closet. You're given this item or gift to be used in the way that it should. And for me, as I was thinking about this, as we look at being alive in that same way, I believe we are called to live according to what Christ calls us to. Not to hold it to the side, not to wait when we're ready, but to live in that calling today and not holding back. There's a couple of things I want to glean from this passage as we look at what it means to be revived. The first thing is this: it begins with an awareness of the opportunities God gives us. It begins with an awareness of the opportunities that God gives us. See, to be revived starts with recognizing and realizing the opportunities that God gives. And here's the thing, I believe He does. God gives us opportunities to grow, for grace, for love. God gives us opportunities. He does not ever abandon us. In this passage, the Master goes on a journey. And since he knew it was going to be for quite a while, he hands over these bags of gold, or talents in some translations, to his servants. And here's the thing. This handing over is not just a flip it like, here, guys, take it. Take this bag. He's not talking about that. He's entrusting. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. This handing over is not just any kind, but it's an entrusting. Okay? Let's go to verse 14. It says this: again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. This whole idea of entrusting is that he's trusting his servants to care for his wealth. To care for it. He trusts them and gives to each servant according to what they could handle. That was the reason. One got 5, one got 2, one got 1. See, he knew their abilities. He knew them. He knew the kind of servants that they were. So he said, hey, I know what you can handle. So let me give you what you can handle. And so he knew the potential of each servant to work with those bags of gold. In that same way, God has entrusted us with opportunities. God has entrusted us with opportunities. To know Him. To grow. God has entrusted us with the opportunities according to what we are able to handle. Sometimes people are like, well, it's too much. It's too much. Well, God's not asking you to be a missionary tomorrow. Maybe some He is. But that's not what He's saying. He gives you what you can handle. But at the same time, one where you are being stretched to grow. See, it's an opportunity that seems difficult to us, but it's easy enough for us to handle. We can handle it. But at the same time, it will cause us to grow. And I wonder if too often we miss these opportunities because of what we have going on in our lives. I believe to be revived, and my hope for us, is not to rush ahead with life, not to get caught up in the schedules and busyness and programs of lives, but to take moments to recognize, become aware of the opportunities God gives. What opportunities has God placed in your life? What opportunity has God placed in our church to be changed, to be transformed, to be revived in Him? Are we able to recognize them, or are we missing them? Because it is those opportunities, I believe that He is calling us to live in, to step in, and to follow us for the way ahead. The second thing is this: it requires an investment and ownership of the opportunities God gives. See, once we see and recognize the opportunities, excuse me, it's not simply to observe, right? It's not just say, hey, oh wow, there it is, there's an opportunity, great. Oh well, and walk away. But it's that we would take that on, take the ownership and invest our lives in it. That it would be something that I invest in. That I will simply say, okay, well, there's an opportunity, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it? And so often it's so easy to say, well, I see an opportunity, so who else is going to do it? My challenge to us is that if we see the opportunity, maybe God is calling us to step into that opportunity. But too often I think we get so caught up with what we have and what we're going through. It's so easy to say, well, who else is going to do it? Or I'll get to it when I can. See, knowing that the master had entrusted them, the two servants, they begin to work with those bags of gold. The two servants took that same responsibility as if those bags were their own. Like it's as if it was theirs. Like, we're going to deal with this as if it's our very own wealth. And they knew that their master would not just sit idly by and let the money just be there. They knew that their master would work. And knowing that their master entrusted them with the same responsibility, they work. But here's the thing, the third servant does not. And the challenge to us is this: how will we now live knowing that God has given us opportunities? How will you choose to live? He's giving you opportunities in your life and our church. How invested will we be in what God is calling us to? See, to be invested, to have ownership, means that I now have a plan in this. Right? I have a plan, I have a part in this. That it will come at a cost to me. That's an investment, right? It's my buy-in. I'm in it. And whatever happens, now I am invested. I'm a part of that. And I wonder if as followers of Christ we aren't invested enough. If we don't have ownership enough, if we treat Christianity as some religion or idea or association, some kind of third-party thing here, rather than a part of our lives. I believe you're called to take action. To not just simply see the opportunities, but to take them and move with them and begin to take the steps that we are able. Whether that's living according to the fruits of the Spirit, whether that's seeking His kingdom, whether that's seeking God in His Word through prayer, whether that's stepping up and serving others, whether it's making changes in my life to be set apart, to be holy in my lifestyle, whether it's being a witness to those around me and being a light to those I work with. And I think too often, it's too easy for me to let this third servant, right? To let the opportunities just remain. It's there. I see it. But don't worry. I've kept it hidden. I put it in the ground. And if we need to, I can dig it whenever I want. But I'm going to keep it in the ground. Christ died to give us life and love. And to live in the freedom of these opportunities. To know the life as we take these opportunities. Are we keeping these opportunities hidden in the ground? Or will we choose to make an investment, to take ownership, and to take action in the opportunities it gives us? The last thing is this, that comes from the growth in the opportunities God gives us. Being revived comes from the growth in the opportunities God gives us. See, I believe as we take those opportunities, as we see them, recognize them, and we start taking those opportunities, what happens is that our faith begins to grow. As we become aware and take ownership, it's causing our faith to grow and our relationship with Jesus Christ to grow. It has to. Because as you're stepping into it, you're seeing how he answers those prayers. You're seeing that he is true, that there is freedom. And what happens is I begin to grow. And it is this that causes us to be revived. From the awareness, the ownership and action, to the growth that happens as a result. Christ gives us the opportunities to grow in him and to have our lives change. But it's taking those steps. And I'm not saying that, we need a whole overhaul of anything. That's not what I'm saying. Sometimes maybe it's just the one small step of saying, you know what, I need to recognize, his opportunities. And then maybe I just need to do one thing. Only you know. And like I said, according to the scripture, we have all been entrusted with what we can do. Based on our abilities, based on our status in life, based on our relationship with Christ. He knows. He knows if you're not ready to do something, you're not ready. But he's not calling you to nothing, I'll tell you that. He's not saying, hey, you know what? I just want you to be complacent. I need you. It's okay. That's not what it is. So what is Christ calling you to? Are we willing to take that step? See, here's the thing with the third servant. He thought he knew what was best. He was afraid. He followed his own instincts rather than following the master. And with the possibility of losing that bag of gold, he does nothing with it. But the question is then, during that time that the master was away, what was he doing? What was he doing during that time that the master had went on his... Because it was going to be for a time. So instead of making good use of that time, who knows what he did? And he was not doing as his master would. He was doing what he wanted to. My other challenge to us is this. Are we doing what we would rather want? Or are we willing to follow Christ? And in following Christ, there is freedom. There is hope to get through whatever challenge or situation that we find ourselves in. How will we choose to live? My hope is that as we go forward, we would know what it means to be revived. Not just through programs or schedules, but in and through the opportunities God gives us. See, I believe in the church, God provides even greater opportunities for us to grow in. Whether it's in our personal lives, in our community, to grow in sharpening each other, challenging each other, mentoring one another, keeping each other accountable. I believe that's what the church is called to be. And that's why in Acts, the church began to grow when they were functioning the way that they were called to be. in the opportunities that God gave them? How will we choose to live in the opportunities God gives us? How will we recognize those opportunities? Because sometimes we just want to know. Just give me the opportunities. Tell me what it is. You said there's opportunities. Great. Yeah, I'm going to buy in. Give it to me. Just give it to me straight. And unfortunately, it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it takes for us to stop rushing through life and pausing and hearing the voice of the Lord for us to recognize those opportunities. So maybe it's about stop rushing through life. Maybe it's about just taking a moment to pause. Not to be lazy and complacent, but to seek His voice in that moment of rest. So what opportunities have He presented to you? How will you choose to live? How will you make an investment, take ownership, take action, to grow in Him, but also be revived in Him? So let's take a moment now just to close our eyes. And take this opportunity to allow the Holy Spirit to bring to our lives whatever opportunity that He needs to. Maybe it's to pause. Maybe it's to find moments of pause. Maybe it's to seek Him. Maybe it's to change your lifestyle. Maybe it's to step into an uncomfortable situation, but to find comfort that Jesus Christ is calling us. What opportunities has He given you in your personal lives, your lives here at your church? And how will we choose to respond? I pray that we would answer that call. We would begin to identify the needs, opportunities that God has given us. And not just sit idly by anymore. Not just say, oh, there's a need, and wait for somebody else to step in. But I pray that you would feel the tugging in your heart. And I pray, if you feel that tugging of the Holy Spirit, don't let that tugging pass by today. I would love to talk to you more if you want to. And there's something that God is tugging at your heart. Please don't let it pass by, but let this be the opportunity that you would take, that you would step into. And I pray for revival in our church. Not based on a worship night or an event or a weekend, but based on the Holy Spirit opening our hearts and minds to the opportunities that are. And Lord, I pray for my brothers and sisters here that as we continue on in our worship, as we continue to grow and look at the way ahead, God, we thank you so much for this past month together. Lord, only you know opportunities that you are placing in our lives and our hearts. God, may we know clearly that it is from you. And God, may we step into those opportunities. That we might know the encounter that happens, the growth that happens, the revival that happens. And as we follow in obedience, the reality of who you are will become more and more. As well, not just today, but in each day as we go forth from here. Tug at our hearts. Speak to us. To know that you are calling us to these opportunities. Help us no longer to ignore or to get caught up in life. But Lord, intercede, interject, come into our lives. That we might know the miracle of that.
encourage you just for this last song as we close our service today, that you would continue just to reflect on whatever God might be blessing in your heart right now, that the opportunity that He wants you to seize. And when you're ready, just stand with us and we're going to sing a song declaring that we will give God all that we